To kick off this week's vlog, just a reminder that I'd like you to watch The Good Place, because I want to talk about it in a future episode. It's available on Netflix. We're partway through series 2. The first series is 13 episodes long. They're half hours, but they're commercial half hours. They're about 22 minutes each. It's a really good show, and I don't want to spoil it anymore, or when I talk about it, so watch it before I talk about it. Today I'd like to talk about an article that I saw on the Spectator website. This was one that I found via a Twitter conversation, not a particularly nice Twitter conversation, but it's always good when you see people talking about an article to go and have a look at it, so off I went and had a look. Now this article, and there'll be a link down below in the show notes, was occasioned by the current public conversation around sexual interest being expressed in public. We've got the Harvey Weinstein scandal, we've had stuff going on in Parliament in the UK, and lots of comment is happening. And the title of this article is not particularly nuanced. It's perhaps not reflective of the article. I don't want to discuss the whole article, but I want to talk about a particular paragraph, which I'm going to read to you now. Are we comfortable with the idea that whenever sexual interest is expressed, it must be fully reciprocated at the risk, when declined, of utter ruin? We might expect people in public life to behave well, but are we certain that we want to create a situation where everyone there, however tenuously, must be either monogamous or celibate? Would the public like this morality to trickle down to them? The morality of the sexual revolution certainly did, so they can be assured that the effect of any counter-revolution will come to them too. I think it's true that the author of this article doesn't really like where this so-called counter-revolution is heading, and he's trying to help people to see the consequences of it by asking these questions. The interesting thing for me when I reflected on those questions is that I don't answer the way that he wants me to answer. You see, that question about monogamy and celibacy is one to which I would actually answer yes. I would love it if everybody in the public eye was either monogamous or celibate, and that trickled down to the rest of society. Why do I say that? Well, that's because I'm a Christian, and that is the Christian sexual ethic. There are only two options. You're either unmarried and celibate, or married and living in a monogamous relationship. But I wouldn't want to enforce that sexual ethic on the people around me, because I believe that living that sexual ethic comes as a response to the Christian gospel and to being empowered by God's Holy Spirit. I certainly wouldn't choose that lifestyle if it weren't for the things that I believed. And what this guy is talking about in this article is people adopting that lifestyle, not out of a sense of freedom, because I think that is what the Christian life brings, but out of a sense of fear. So that's why my answer is yes. Yes, I'd love to see that. But actually, no, I don't want to see it happen that way. I'd like to see it happen through people's hearts being transformed and them desiring to act in that way, rather than being forced to act in that way when they would really rather actually act differently. What do you think? Leave a comment down below if you think things are changing too fast in terms of how it's appropriate or not appropriate to act in society. Where would you like society to end up in relation to these matters? The second thing I want to comment on in this vlog, and it's a complete change of direction, is the death of Dudley Simpson. Now, strictly speaking, I should be commenting on this in my Doctor Who podcast, because he was a stalwart Doctor Who composer back in the 60s and 70s, but I'm useless at reacting to current events in Smudwup, so I'm doing it in this blog. For those of you only familiar with modern Doctor Who and the music of Murray Gold, Dudley was almost essentially the Murray Gold of the Tom Baker era, but he had composed music for Doctor Who right from William Hartnell's days. He also did the Tomorrow People and the Blake Seven theme tunes and a host of other BBC shows. He died this week at the age of 95. Very sad, but he leaves a legacy of some amazing music. So that's that. Please comment on anything I've talked about. I'd love to hear what you think. Please click below to subscribe, and then also click the bell icon if you want to be notified every time I post a new video. Over here is a link to the previous episode, and down there is a link to the next episode, or if this is the most current episode, that will take you to a playlist of all the previous videos in this series.